bigger, you understand? Which means you're saving less on the back end. But the wealthy person, still the same lifestyle. He pays himself even more, he pays the same bills, and whatever's left, he'll have the same amount of fun. Keeping it very simple, okay? Number 2, let's talk about this. The estimated median retirement need for a person considering part-time, a part of a Generation X is $1 million. If you're seriously considering to retire, and by the way, Generation X is anyone who was born after 1960, all right, let's say 1965 to 79, you'd be considered Generation X. I'm scanning the room, there's a lot of people. So yeah, $1 million is kind of what you need, all right? Now let's talk about this. I like this because it was kind of life-changing for me. People say, well, this is a good investment, that's a good investment. It's great, but what is your end goal? And I'm kind of blitzing through this right now. There's this wonderful concept that I like to share with families. You see, because I don't have to push a product down your throat, I focus more on concept. You see concept, you vision where you want to go in life, we're able to facilitate that for you based on the suitability need on this. This is just a concept, and all it says is, hey, you get the rate of return that's going to be given you, or the interest rate that is charged to you by the bank, divided by 72. What you get is the number of years it takes for the principal to double. Case in point, here's an individual investing $10,000 at the age of 29, earning 6%. You get 72 divided by 6 is 12. So every 12 years, compounding interest, the principal will double. Now this is just a concept. The idea is if it stays 6%, but you know, life happens as things do the way they do. Every 12 years is how much it'll double. That means you'll have, at age 65, you'll have $80,000. You guys got that? This is a powerful concept. I wouldn't sleep on this. That's why I asked you to stand up. Next up, the DIE method. All right? This is also a method on how you can calculate life insurance. And I'll close out with this. This is how you actually determine it. Don't just think of life insurance as a bill. Wealthy people use life insurance not because of what it actually does, but they understand that there are tax benefits in life insurance. You pay it as a bill and go, oh, yeah, it's too much, but you have a $600 phone and no one is complaining. But you have insurance on the phone too. Oh, that's awesome, right? But I ask you, what's important to you? My life. Really? Because the papers don't show that. But anyway, the idea very simply is D is for debt, I is for income. The industry states you're supposed to have at least 10 times your annual income in life insurance. Mortgage, well, that's your house. If it's $250,000 or $300 or $150, whatever that number is. And education, you run up the numbers for education. We have a lot of educators who came up here. Based on how much education costs for a child, you have 1, you have 2, you have 3. You just add the numbers up. That'll give you roughly what your shortfall is as far as life insurance. And then I want to close off on this and just be done. In the Texas area, in the Houston area, there was recently a tragedy. And I want you to think very, very closely. Like, there was recently a tragedy. I didn't know who the people were. But my deepest condolences go out to the families. I don't know how things were handled. I don't know what they did after those members of our community passed away. But think for a second if they had children, because I don't know if they did. Fine. What if we succeeded in transporting them back home? What if they were married? So what does the spouse do? Does she go back to the community and ask the community, please make some more donations? What about the children? How do we put them through life? Do we now say, go back to the community and say, let's put the kids through school? When is the community going to go and give Tanzania money, send back money, if the community is taking care of the people here? But I say to you, if you take care of your home, you make the community stronger. If you make the community stronger, then we can have fun doing the things we need to do to all the boys and girls organizations that are out there. And last but not least, in that survey, women and poor countries were the biggest chunk of that, financial literacy. And a lot of women are supposed to be empowered. My home is run by a woman. I'm African, but I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm the head of the house, but she's the neck. Now you can, hey, listen, you can sit up there going, I'm the man. Good for you. Try turning your head when your neck can't go. Hey guys, thank you so much. That's my number. If you have any questions, I'll answer you back.
At this time, we have CRDB Bank, who has a couple of something to share with us. So is CRDB ready to go? While we wait for them, are there any questions for the individuals? Okay, there's a question back there. We'll take 2 questions while we load up CRDB's presentation.
First of all, I want to thank everybody that presented. Yeah, I just want to thank everybody that presented and everybody who does all the great work back home to help the families and fellow members back home. But I just want to give a testimony to Dr. Shalua's school. My younger brother came here about 8 years ago. Oh, sorry, came here about 8 years ago to go to do his electrical engineering degree. But he needed a job. So he was one of the first certificate graduate from his school. And right now, it's taken him 8 years. Next week, he'll be graduating with the electrical engineering degree in, master's degree in electrical engineering. So, use the job as a means to an end. So, if you set your goals, you can make it. My other point and sort of question is Fundi, the one who talked about the Tanzania education system. That education system there, it just needs to be overhauled because it doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work, you have 2 systems. You have those who have, and there's the have-nots. The have, they send their kids to English medium schools. But at the end, when the Form 4 exam comes, they all take the same exam. So you cannot compare bananas and oranges. That's why it just does not work. And I can go into details why, but if you don't change that, it's not going to get anywhere.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Protocols observed. Because of the time, I'll go quickly. I won't go through our presentation. As you're all aware, CRDB Bank is the largest and leading bank in Tanzania in terms of total assets, customer base, and lending. This is a huge trust that Tanzanians has given to the bank. Since we have the strongest balance sheet, we are able to use our financial muscle to contribute to our country's economic growth as well as transforming lives of Tanzanians. How did we do that? We did this because first we listen, as our tagline says, and we innovate. Yesterday, through different presentation discussions with individuals and feedback which I received and encouragement which I got from our Honorable Ambassador, I decided to share with you several things or opportunities which could be gained from CRDB Bank. I noted that we have been discussing a lot of challenges, but those challenges are actually opportunities. And CRDB Bank can help a lot and make maybe most of us a lot of money. Due to our strong balance sheet, we lead in lending in Tanzania. We lend to all sectors and all customer segments. We lend to the government. We support infrastructure, construction of roads, ports, and airports. For example, the new terminal at Dar es Salaam Airport is funded by CRDB Bank. Expansion of our Dar es Salaam port is done by the bank, and so on and so forth, a lot of things which are happening in infrastructure. We also fund parastatal and private companies in agribusiness, construction, real estate. I see a lot of people are coming from Kagera, my brother Muta. Kagera Sugar is funded by us. Jambo, a huge factory which is being constructed in Shinyanga right now, bigger than other, is funded by us, National Housing, and other private individuals. We also have special funds for SME and special loans for women. We believe that entrepreneurship plays a key role in the development of our economy, and that is the segment which will bring our people to middle income. We fund micro and SACCOs as well. So why am I sharing this? Through the discussion and those challenges which were discussed here, I was asking, what is the solution for that? This community here, you have a lot of exposure, you have command in language, you can network, you can bring back investment, direct investment to the country. We should not wait for other people to do that in Tanzania. And you are telling me, CRDB Bank, we have the muscle, if you really have a case, to finance it. You could start small. Hata mbuyu ulianza kama mchicha. You could start in your communities and your leaders, which we are discussing here, to form SACCOs. And we can finance you through SACCOs. We are the only bank in Tanzania who do wholesale microfinancing. So we can finance your wholesale through wholesale, your SACCOs, and then you finance your members, and the interest rate goes down. Someone was talking about working together. Truly is better. We have done this, I'm not saying because I'm staying here, but we have done it, and I'll give you some examples. We did Fongome SACCOs, that is for the army. They are doing huge investment right now in real estate, constructing offices. One of the huge buildings in Mwenge belongs to them. We started financing them when they're small. We financed URA SACCOs, Uraia, Usalama wa Raia SACCOs, that is a police one. They paid everything to us. They've started their own bank. They're our competitor. We did with Walimu. You are all aware, now they're even doing real estate, they've constructed their own building. Those are a few examples. You could do the same. We also have business opportunities. We have started Fahari Huduma Wakala, whereby businesses can provide services on behalf of the bank. We have them everywhere in Tanzania. Due to the technology and robust system which you have, we could have the same here. So instead of people sending money back home, we could have Fahari Huduma Wakala, agents, banking agents, who could provide banking services on behalf of the bank, but you have to be vetted by the embassy and DICOTA, because you'll be working with people's money. It is easier, it is done. You can use smart POS, and you can also use your own phone to open accounts. And it is not for free. Whenever people transact, you get commission. When you open an account, you get commission. You make money. And people back home are making money. I'm going quickly. The last one is on customer service. You can see they're looking at the time. The last one is on customer services. We appreciate all the feedbacks which you got yesterday, but I'd like to share with you that we have official channels, and we appreciate to get more, because when you give us the feedback, we know that you love us and you want us to prosper. So we have first a dedicated diaspora desk, which is led by our beautiful Lucy, and she will give you all her contacts. We have 24-hour state-of-the-art call center. You can send your feedback or any queries through email. I'll give the email address later and the number. We are also available on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Immediately when you send something, there are people 24/7 who are there to respond, and we have an escalation matrix. If they don't respond according to our SLA, then it moves to the next senior. When it reaches at my desk, then everybody's in trouble. As you know me, I'm not that kind, so I'm sorry. I encourage that, okay, the last thing I also wanted to say on customer service, that we are developing an app, which will also ease the way you transfer money and transact. That app will enable you to do everything on your SIM banking. It's a SIM banking app mobile. I'll finish before I give Lucy a minute to greet you, to encourage you to invest back home. Because funding is there. You have the ability, we have funding. You have commanding language. For me, I have to think first in Nyakyusa, translate it in Swahili, bring it in English. Matatizo. Thank you so much.
Hello, good afternoon. Good evening. Shikamooni tena. So I've become a superstar since yesterday, and I accept the beautiful Lucy. Okay, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I'll not go through my slides, which I took months to prepare. It wasn't easy, but I had fun doing it because I love what I do. I love meeting you. I love dealing with the diaspora. And being an ex-diaspora, I know I lacked a lot of things. Actually, coming from a Chaga family, all we think about is owning a property, owning a beautiful home, and mainly gorofa. So growing up, what motivated me to being or to doing what I do every day and loving what I do is owning a gorofa. I don't know about you all. I know a lot of you are from Muleba, Kagera. You also want the same. If you don't want, then you at least feel a little bit of an inch that I should be part of that gorofa. So you marry a Chaga girl. So today I will try my best to make it quick, to encourage you and to motivate you, inspire you. It's a shame I can't go through the slides because I wanted to share with you the properties that we've financed through the diaspora, the properties that I've seen people view, and then now they own them. And they don't live in Tanzania, they haven't even been to Tanzania, but they were able to do so. So I want you to do the same thing, and next time that I come to DICOTA, which I will be testifying with you that you actually now own a property in Tanzania. And Tuntufi, I can't see him, my partner. Where's Tuntufi, National Housing? Okay, they're not here. But, so CRDB. I can't see Muta either. Oh, there he is. I think I want Muta to be the first candidate to actually apply for this facility. It's Mortgage Dijenge. Mortgage Dijenge is a facility, a mortgage scheme for Tanzanians back at home and non-resident Tanzanians who are across the diaspora, across the world. We are financing for you to own and purchase a home. Purchase a home. Everybody needs a home. You could be lonely. My fellow Juma, I think Juma said, where are the single people? You could be single, you could be married, you could be a widow, whatever it is, but you need a home. It could be a gorofa, as I said, or it could be a bungalow, but everybody needs a home. We don't want homeless people. That's one. Two, you're a diaspora. You have a certain living lifestyle that you've built already for yourself and your family, or your family back home. You want them to experience the same thing that you're experiencing while you're here. So you invest and get them a good home. How do you get a good home? Last year, last presentation from National Housing, we had one candidate or a member who was questioning National Housing on their properties. But it's a wide market back at home now. We have a lot of properties, prime properties, good developers, not only national housing. And we're not tying you to only national housing. You could go openly in the market. There's social media now. You Google a property in Tanzania, you get thousands of them. They're there, readily available for you. Pick a property, look into your pockets. You work hard. You deserve something good. So you want that something good, but you don't have the bulk of cash that I have to give you. I'm ready here to give you. You have to have the right contacts, your documentation, and to be ready to go through the process. The other thing that we get from the diaspora, how long does it take? It's quick. But I have to look into you. I have to know who you are. Yes, you're an ambassador. So you're located where? What do you do? What extra do you have? You know, I'm a doctor. You know, in Dallas, everybody knows me. Yes, I'm glad everybody knows you, but where's your paper? Where is your offer? What can you know, all that is important. So we facilitate and we will make sure that you get a property that is at the valued rate. We will look into the market with you to see what is offered to you is reasonably fair. We will prepare the process and will enable you through the desk that we prepared for you. And I'm with the guru himself, the chap that looks after your paperwork. Mr. Emmanuel Kimario is sat with my colleagues at the back. He's the specialist and the analyst for the mortgage, diaspora mortgage documentation. So he will look into your paperwork, he will give you all the requirements. But before all that, I'm afraid you have to come through me. You must own a Tanzanite account. So you have a Tanzanite account that's gone quiet, it's sleeping, and it's dormant. You see me. You don't have to see me in person, but you have to get to me. We'll activate your account and we'll facilitate for you to be able to apply for the mortgage facility. The mortgage facility roughly takes about maximum 2 weeks. 2 weeks your facility will be approved and the installment will start to be, the disbursement will be done to the realtor who you've dealt with, and you'll be ready to go. In a couple of months, we'll be able to give you your title deed. That will be in our custody until you settle your mortgage. The mortgage is for 15 years. The rates are 8.5 and 18%. Yes? Why is everybody quiet? Okay, it's too high. Yes. So it's too high. But we talked about the rates yesterday. We're not talking about the rates today. I'm telling you about products. About the rates and about why it's too high. It's a shame Central Bank are not here, but they run the rates. I don't have the rates. I'm given a rate, I'll put a margin, and as we stated, the gentleman from the People's Bank of Zanzibar, he gave a very easy answer to it. He said, yo, 20 years, I'm giving you a loan. You're building a home or you're buying a home, you're paying for 20 years. That is your money. That was your deposit. You gave me a deposit, I'm lending it out. If I'm lending it out, you expect to earn an interest. Where do I get the interest? From the money that I've lent. So that's what I do. I'm reinvesting your deposits. If you had the money to buy the property, you'd use your money. But you're a clever chap. You don't want to use your own money. You're taking it. Isn't it? Yeah. So that's the easy way out. But I don't want to exhaust you. I want you to be free to ask, follow us. We're right there. Feel free to come and ask anything related to mortgage and diaspora, because that's where we're going. We need you to invest and save back home in terms that would make you be proud of what you have back home as a diaspora.
We're almost done. We're almost done. At this time, I'd like to invite the panel of women in leadership, the underutilized catalyst. A good friend of mine, we played together as kids. We grew up on the same street. Very proud of her. She's coming to us from Skype, from Wisconsin. And she will tell us the wonderful things that she's doing. She's in the field of education, and she has built a secondary school in Musoma. So she's going to talk to us. She's going to talk to us about the process of being in the school, what she went through. She would have been here if she could, but she's with us via Skype.
Okay, so it seems like we're fixing some technical difficulties, but I'll just introduce myself. My name is Shannon Bradford, and I am a program assistant with the Women's Initiative at the George W. Bush Institute. But today I'm talking about a women's training center that I interned with last summer in Marrakesh, Morocco. I unfortunately do not have any experience in Tanzania, but I thank you very much for having me, and I would love to share the women's organization that I've worked with, and potentially it could be used in other countries. I'd first like to start by talking about the founder of the organization. She's a strong women leader. Her name is Nora Fitzgerald. She's a Moroccan-American. She noticed when she was in the Medina, or the souk of Marrakesh, that women were begging on the streets, and she gathered them together and started donating money to them and clothing, and noticed that their lives weren't being transformed. They were still living in poverty, and they were still being forced to beg on the streets every day. She wanted to come up with a more permanent solution for their poverty, and she wondered why they were struggling to pull themselves up on the social ladder. She found out that widowed, single, or former servants are stigmatized in Moroccan society, and they're often forced into destitution as a result. So she came up with the idea of Amal Women's Training Center, and Amal means hope in Arabic. And she wanted to form this organization around the idea of hope. So she thought about how she could train these women so that they could be permanently more employable in Moroccan society. And a huge booming industry in Marrakesh is the tourist industry. And so she wanted to leverage that to help these women transform from beggars on the street to breadwinners in their families. So the program is a 6-month program. It trains women in the culinary industry. They learn American and Moroccan cuisine as well as European cuisines to cater to the large international tourist community in Marrakesh. In addition to their training, they also take lifestyle classes, English, Arabic, Spanish, French, and health-related classes, because it's not only a transformation of being employable, but it's also meant to be a transformation on a personal level. Many of these women don't have self-worth because they are just beggars on the street and they don't feel like they're contributing to their families. At the end of this program, they are given internships and taught how to work in the Moroccan tourist industry. And then at the conclusion of the program, when I was there last year, they had an employment rate of 80%. So that was a woman who had a dream to help other women, and it was truly a transformation for them. At the end of last year, Nora applied for and was given a grant from the Orange Foundation. It gave her 25,000 euros to help with these women. Women who graduated from the program felt that they wanted to do something bigger than just work in the service industry. They wanted to start their own businesses. The 25,000 euros that was given to Nora has gone into a competition of these women to create their own businesses. And it's a really extraordinary thing, because just imagine being a beggar on the street and now all of a sudden you have the potential to own your own business. And so I just really believe in what she does, and I wanted to share that with all of you, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. My name is Lucia Kibona Clark. I'm an assistant professor of African Studies at Howard University. When I was asked to speak on the topic of women in leadership. I was a little bit nervous. I wasn't quite sure how to frame my presentation. Usually when I'm speaking in front of crowds, it's for a lecture, I'm talking about my research, or I'm talking about my activism. But this is an issue that's a little personal to me, not just a little personal, really personal. So I want to actually kind of do something a little bit different than some of the other presenters, so I hope you bear with me. But I want to use my own kind of journey to look at the difficulties and the challenges of sometimes being an African woman with ambitions and goals, but then also look at the importance of paying it forward, with the importance of kind of being a part of the community and using your own success to reach back and pull someone else up. So like I said, I'm a scholar and an activist, and I'm currently teaching at Howard University. I also wanted to promote some of the organizations I work with, starting with Howard University. It's the largest historically black college in the country. We will be celebrating 150 years next year. I'm teaching in the African Studies department, which is the oldest and one of the few African Studies departments in the country. Last year, a few years ago, I think we celebrated our 60th anniversary. This is my first year back in the department. I was teaching in Los Angeles previously. So we're celebrating, I think, 60 plus years now. I'm also an activist who has worked with groups like Amnesty International, as well as Black Lives Matter, on campaigns dealing with human rights, social justice, and immigration reform. More close to home, I've recently started working with groups like HUC, Helping Underserved Communities, which is a group some of you may be familiar with, but it's an organization started by Tanzanians living in Maryland. And we raise funds for projects in Tanzania. This summer we're doing a service trip to Tanzania, but we'll be doing eyeglass exams and providing eyeglasses for youth in Dar es Salaam. I absolutely love my job. Thank you. I absolutely love my job, but the road has not been easy. I came to the US when I was 5, and being an African in the US was difficult at times. Being black in the US was difficult at times. Being a woman anywhere in the world was difficult at times. I had a teacher in high school who complained that I wrote too much about black stuff. And after all, how could Africa be great with all the poverty, war, and corruption? So I spent my time in the library so I could write papers that talked about leaders like Mwalimu, and talk about Tanzania being not only a country with no history of war, but being a place that welcomed refugees and helped Southern African liberation. In grad school, a professor said that there were no African intellectuals in Africa. Yeah, that was my reaction. And that there was no real African women's movement. So, my final paper was on African feminism. Finally, growing up, my classmates laughed at my African prints and my African name. My name is Msia, but I got Masia, Missia, Missy. No one could pronounce it properly.
What did you say?
But then I started to see more and more West Africans as more people began migrating. This is the 1980s and 90s to the US. And I saw these West Africans in these beautiful, glorious colors and fabrics with long, multi-syllable names. And they had what the West Africans call vim, confidence. And I watched how they demanded respect in whatever fields they were in. I was talking to a friend saying that this had been a Nigerian event. We would have seen the big head wraps and the flowing gowns and the very colorful African prints that West Africans are known for. I became inspired by this. All of these experiences shaped who I would become, and instead of trying to be what others thought I should, I embraced who I was. That and a lot of hard work and support has taken me to amazing places and rewarded me with the respect in my field as well as from my colleagues. I want to quickly highlight the discipline of African studies because people, especially back home, my family often wonder, what is this? What is African studies? Why? Not economics or business or something practical. But African studies is wonderful because it is an interdisciplinary field that includes people doing development work in Africa, work with international organizations, policy analysts, and people working with grassroots organizations. Basically, anything relating to Africa in almost any field you can find an African Studies scholar. In international development circles, we impact economic development and aid packages being promoted in Africa. We impact American, European, and Chinese foreign policy in Africa, and we also impact the funding of grassroots NGOs wanting to establish programs relevant to the communities they work with. So a big part of my accomplishments has come from uncompromisingly representing who I am. I am Tanzanian and I cannot change that. I am black and I cannot change that. And I am a woman and I cannot change that. So I've turned these into benefits. They're the foundation of my work, of my scholarship, and my teaching. Instead of representing a culture that was not mine, I brought my culture with me, and it has given me the freedom and confidence to build my success on my own terms. My research focuses on African migration and identity, and that research has produced several publications on the migration experiences of Africans in the US and identities among first and second generation African migrants. It has also led to more than 10 years of experience working with African asylum seekers and African immigrant detainees in the US. It's a very humbling experience participating in volunteer projects where we go visit detainees. And more, there are Africans flying into Latin America and coming up by road. It's a journey that takes almost a year. Many of them are robbed, many of them die, but I've run into people from Somalia, from Ghana, from Nigeria who make this journey, and just coming and sitting and talking for 20 minutes makes a big difference. The research has included my research has included looking at the use of hip-hop culture as a tool for social change. That has included looking at the role hip-hop has played in social and political change in Africa, more recently in West Africa, where groups were successful in getting over 300,000 people to vote and leading to peaceful change in government. In 2013, I received a Fulbright Scholar Fellowship from the US State Department to conduct research in Tanzania, and that research focused, on the use of social media in Tanzania by hip-hop artists whose socially conscious music was not being played on the radio, which is, as we know, dominated by predominantly bongo flavor music. And I also worked with a group called Akoa Mtaa Foundation. They're based in Arusha, but they use hip-hop culture to empower the youth in Arusha and have since expanded to Mwanza. I also worked with a young group of men called Wachata Crew doing graffiti projects in Tanzania. During the elections, they were really instrumental in doing graffiti art around the city, educating people about voting. And I also did work with female artists who use hip-hop culture as a way to resist sexism and empower themselves. My work has led to book projects and publications as well as guest lectures. It has also led more recently to the creation of a course that I've just taught this semester on hip-hop culture in Africa. It's the first such course in a university in the United States. And I was able to get my students in my class to link with hip-hop artists in Ghana, South Africa, and Tanzania, and they worked on various social media projects. So it was a really interesting way to use social media, use technology to bridge the gap between American students and students in Africa. My future plans include continuing my research. I'm going to actually try to wrap it up, so pardon me if I skip over some things. To continue to do this work, to continue to do research projects. My work so far has taken me around the world and given me experiences that are invaluable, but those rewards also come with an obligation. I sometimes get calls from friends who have a child or a niece or a child of a friend who wants to go to college or is in college and wants advice. Because of those who work to support me, my reaction is to always to get involved in any way that I can. For my own students, being involved means being a part of their support system. Not financially, mind you, but being a part of their support system as they work their way through the university system. As a woman, and as an African woman, I realize the importance of being a resource for young women. Of being an example or a mentor is important because young women can never have too many in societies where we are still told that we must accept certain levels of gender inequality. In societies where we are still told, like I was, that a woman who is too educated will not be able to find a husband. I also realize the importance of being a resource for young men, especially because we want our men to marry women who will be their partners, not their dependents. In the development world, there was a popular quote which was mentioned today, which is actually a Ghanaian proverb. If you educate a man, you will educate an individual, but if you educate a woman, you will educate a family. We have to embrace this way of thinking as Tanzanian women, and as African women, and as Africans. Thank you.
Okay, I think technology is working for us now.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Christine R. Thompson Musori, and I'm the founder and CEO of Musori International, personal and professional development firm here in the U.S. I'm also the founder and president of Musori International Foundation, a registered 501c3 status nonprofit here in the U.S., but it's also a registered entity in Tanzania. And I'm also the founder and president of Musori International Academy in Tanzania, and I'm co-founder of Pan-African Community Association that is based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, that helps immigrants and refugees from Africa, Asia, and other parts of the world to settle and adjust to life in the United States. Thank you so much for having me. It is an honor to be here with you today. And before I start, I'd just like by the show of hands, how many people are actually have projects or plan to do some work in Tanzania? Just by the show of hands. Okay, well, thank you. So today's topic, I will be talking about the difference, about making a difference in Tanzania, the challenge, the success, and the lessons learned. Our journey did not begin yesterday, and we continue to embark on our journey of making a difference in Tanzania. And we started in 1994, early part of 1990s actually, but in 1994 we already had, I had a school up in Dar es Salaam in Tabata, Segerea. And now we have moved to another school called Musori International Academy in a rural village in Tanzania. And for today's topic, that is what I'm going to focus on, what were the challenges and what were the success and what were the lessons learned. There were so many challenges that I encountered along the way, but for today I'm going to focus on mainly four. One is the culture shock, two, limited resources and access to resources, three is corruption, and number four is adjusting to life in Tanzania after being in the US and going back to do work there. So let's talk about the culture shock. It was still in today's age when I was back in Tanzania trying to build this school in the village, that it was not something that was very received openly, because in Tarime it's a male-dominated, as you know, a lot of the major tribe is the Korean. And so for me being female and trying to do the work, that was not something that they were open to, because they consider that that's a project of a man and that's a male's role. I had no place in doing that work. My roles remained in the kitchen. And so that has been a challenge. Actually had a few people that mentioned about blowing up the school because they didn't think I needed to be there to do that work. But we continue to strive. As far as another issue that came to me as culture shock was the time frame. When I went to Tanzania, the plan was to be in Tanzania for 2 weeks and 30 days the most. I ended up staying in Tanzania for 1.5 years. It was not easy, but I'm glad that I did. One of the other, the second one, I would say, was limited access to resources and finances. And when I say limited access to resources, is the fact that being in a village, when we needed some building materials, they were not necessarily available, and so you had to travel or you had to wait for a couple of days. That prolonged the time for me staying in the country, but also extra costs that were not in the budget. Another thing, again, that would tie to challenge is corruption. It was difficult working with government workers and also other private individuals because of corruption. So if you needed a document to be signed or you just needed a few materials, they also wanted some money, and that was not in the budget. So that was a challenge to me. The other part was the price. Because I'm new, not knowing how to go about getting resources and who to connect with, especially in the village, unlike in Dar es Salaam, the prices I was told, and I think that would tie also into being female, they quoted me different prices. So I had to learn how to maneuver, otherwise I couldn't move forward, but we moved forward anyway. The other issue was adjusting to life in Tanzania. I think it was the comfort of being home, having your own car, having access to the computer, electricity, the phone. I could just call. If the phone doesn't work, you call your service provider. That was not the case. I had to learn how to use the phone and how to make sure that I don't go over my limits. How do you scratch and put the numbers? So that was a lot of work. It took me a while. By the time I started to adjust, it was time for me to come back to the U.S. However, despite those challenges, we did have some successes along the way. The school was built in 2014. By 2015, we had it up and running. And so to me, that's a major success because having the school up, we're able to provide education. And as the students come to school, we provide food, which means breakfast and lunch. The students are able to receive that at school. We provide the scholarship. Over 99% of those students, we sponsor them. And so we also provide uniform and the school supplies. Another success that I would mention is the being able to provide employment for the men and women in the community, especially for women. So during the construction period, they were able to do some work, but even after, we were able to provide work, and we continue to do so. Another success is teacher training. We providing training to our teachers and plan to expand and provide teacher training to teachers, not just the ones teaching at Historic International Academy, but even outside as well. Another success is providing water, clean water. As we know, 5,000 children die each day worldwide, and every 21 seconds you have a child dying out of waterborne diseases. So being able to provide water on the campus, it makes it accessible to not just the students, but also to the villages, and we continue to work on our water projects to this day. Another one, to me, I would say that's a huge success is to be able to obtain the support of some of the men, especially the fathers, that are now rethinking and adjusting their mindset about sending their daughters to school. Once the school was up and they saw these other students coming, they've been able to see the value of education and support of a project. So to me, that's a huge success because we actually are foreseeing that we may be expanding. Actually, I would say the number of girls and students that we have on campus would increase as next year, moving forward. What are the lessons learned? There were some lessons that we learned along the way. For one, I realized the need to have a team. And for my safety and also for the project to move forward, I actually gathered a couple of men in the community. One of them was the border guy in the community because he was very respected, but also people were afraid of him. So I actually worked with him and had him become part of my team because I needed his, just for security purposes. But he also knew how to maneuver and get the prices, and if anyone was trying to cheat or trying to harm me, so I had that protection. Also working with some other village members who knew the villages, and this were male. Because of them, I felt secure in the village, but I also felt, I learned a lot because they did teach me a lot of things. Did I have some women? Sure, I did have some of the women who taught me some of the things how to go about in the community, and that was very helpful. So another lesson I learned was to be loyal, not to be loyal to myself, to my dreams, and the vision that we have for the school and the nonprofit, but also to the entire team. and not to compromise that, because you do have a lot of functions, you do have a lot of family needs, but you can only be in one place, and due to limited resources, I had to make sure that I stayed focused and remain loyal to our vision and the plan that we have. And I learned that I needed to be patient. That's another lesson. Be patient and be flexible. Our very first school, as I mentioned, was early 1990s. I would have loved to see it expand and even grow before we moved to Tarime, but things did not work out that way. In Tarime, the school was supposed to be up and running by 2015, and in 2015, it wasn't. But I believe we are where we need to go, and we're heading in the right direction. Another lesson learned is to have faith. I am a Christian and I have faith. I have strong faith in God, knowing that God started this work in me and will complete it. So even despite the challenge that we encountered, I still believe God's hand is in it, and I have faith, and that's the only way that I've been able to survive. And lastly is to understand that my vision is my vision alone. I cannot expect family to jump in and friends to be in it at all times, because it's not their vision. And so being stressed out about why not people, this is a good cause and everybody should be supporting the cause of the idea. But I just realized, I learned it's not everyone's vision. It's not everyone's, God did not put that in everybody's heart. So I continue to strive to just work and appreciate any support that we get to move forward. But in conclusion, I would say that with as many lives that we have impacted, again, this is just in terms of the school, but even through the nonprofit, we have impacted many lives of many children, youth, women, and men, and including the elderly. And for that, I'm encouraged to continue and not let the challenge stop us or stop us from moving forward. And we're making adjustments and learning all the way, because I believe in learning, serving, and leading. So with that, I continue because I feel it is my obligation to make a difference in Tanzania. And so I do hope that everyone, despite no matter how small your contribution, to never discount that, because you may be, or I may be, the only hope that a child, a mother, a father, a family, or a child may have. Thank you.
Thank you. On your schedule, and thanks our panelists. Thank you. Our schedules has some, on the agenda, you'll see that there's a session, natural gas and energy. Unfortunately, we would not be able to have this session. We had invited TPDC to be with us today, and also we had hoped that the Ministry of Energy and Minerals would be with us, but vibali patikana. So they were not able to join us, and so we apologize for that. They could not be here. So at this time, we're getting ready to close the session. It has been interesting. It was nice to have all of you here. But at this time, we'd like to thank all of you for attending the DICOTA convention. We'd like to thank Balozi Masilingi, Balozi Vega. Balozi, tunajua ni mgeni, lakini tunafurahi umetujua, umetuona, na I hope that we have created your own impression of us now that you have worked with us from your arrival here in the United States. Kwa hiyo tunakushukuru sana for that. Balozi Vega, we also thank you for representing the ministry and for being here. You are our champion in the diaspora. We have a new minister, a new principal secretary, a new deputy minister, and a new director. And so we hope that this is the beginning of that relationship. And we also hope that this convention has given you some perspective of the diaspora in the United States. And as you go back to Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, and other places, you can reflect what you witnessed for yourself here, what we've been doing, what we're trying to achieve. And so we hope that we have set that impression and we have given you a good perspective of this diaspora community in the United States. And so please pass our regards to all of those back home. We appreciate the work that Saif has done for us. We miss him, but please send him our regards, tell him we miss him, and we wish he could be here with us. The ministry has been very, very instrumental in having this convention, making this convention a success. Before Ndaga comes up to make his closing remarks, DICOTA is led with a series of bylaws. We have bylaws, we have elections. Based on our bylaws, and where's Ndaga? Oh, there he is. Based on our bylaws, this is Ndaga's last convention because our bylaws have term limits and we have elections and we follow our bylaws. And as much as we would like to have Ndaga be our president forever, our bylaws do not allow us to do that. And therefore, this is Ndaga's last convention, and towards the end of the year, October, November timeframe, we will have elections for a new team of the executive committee of DICOTA. And so with that, I pass it on to Ndaga.
Hello. Thank you. Yeah, I'm here to provide the final takeaways for this convention. And I'll start from the keynote speech that was read by Ambassador Masilingi from our President John Magufuli. And we are going to provide a very detailed line-to-line response to it. That is one of our action items. Yeah, but the emphasis there was we can do more to keep on attracting tourists to our country. And us being the members or being the ambassadors ourselves, we can do more. That is number one takeaway. And also, we are sure that the President is working very hard to make sure that he's going to improve, maintain, sustain all the systems around the government. Meaning what it means, whenever that you want to do anything to the system, you're going to find a stable and a more conducive recipient of what we'll be doing to develop our country. And also we are very lucky to get some remarks from Ali Mufuluki, and his two main takeaways was, number one, diaspora can change the perception on what other people looking to us. So it means we can be good ambassadors who can make positive impact and change that perception. And the way we carry ourselves, that's what he's going to tell us a lot. So we should maintain our identity, no matter what on paper citizenship we're going to have. Yeah, from Ambassador Mbega, she kind of shared the power of diaspora in transforming the country, and they gave some very good examples from Mexico, China, Nigeria, etc. And you are told that remittances are keep on going up, and hoping if the system will be able to collect everything that you are sending back home, we are going to be more than the number that's there on paper there. Yeah, and now the way we're being engaged to the important activities is going to be increased, and also we can do more to make sure that those avenues are going to be there. And now, as DICOTA, we are encouraged to maintain this forum to make sure that we are going to keep on doing the good things, and those things are going to be discussed, and they are going to fall back to our country and do on the sustainability and development of our country. We heard from Dr. Spinell regarding OPIC, and that we have that 60 million investment in Tanzania. And he went through all the lending mechanism for sustainable development that allows long-term repayment and adjustment if needed. And also, we were reminded that on June 16th, they're going to be expanding Horizon Workshop in Houston. And you encourage to register for that using that code, discount code, which is Houston 35. And you're going to get a discount from $50 to $35. And also, Dr. Spinello were able to meet some members on one-on-one basis to discuss the details of what we're going to do to get help from the OPIC. Yeah, CRDB encourages to be shareholders to their company, and also the way, kind of encouraging the way diaspora can make more impact. Whatever that you're doing here, whatever you want to invest in Tanzania, is going to impact lives in Tanzania. And also we heard a lot about the services and products from CRDB themselves, National Housing, was studying SSF, PBZ, and etc. All the sponsors and all the services and products from Tanzania. So we have to take advantage of those services and products, and for sure it's a win-win. We are going to win by developing ourselves, by investing home, getting money, and also helping our relatives back home, and also develop our country. Mr. Gams, he kind of tells us to refocus, not to look more in the major, big projects for power generation. We can start looking at small options like solar, wind, and all other renewables. And also we are encouraged to be more creative and invest in initiatives on our own. So whatever that we think, we can make our dreams come true and make it for our own development and move forward in terms of development. Also encourage, if we are going to have very big projects, to go with the big banks and companies to get help in terms of financial. Yeah, from community leaders, yeah, they shared what they do in their communities, and they kind of gave us more encouragement that they do support what we're doing, and they're going to continue to support us, as well as most of them, they are kind of interested to host our DICOTA convention. And as you all know, our procedure is, as you said, the intent is there, and we normally do surveys for all members. So we're going to hear from all the members, and then we're going to assess the city based on how that city is accessible from all over the country, and how cheap, or how, like I say, how it's going to be convenient for people to pay for hotel. The services around is how expensive or cheaper they're going to be. And also we are looking for the Tanzanian community that's going to be strong enough to support us, as what we have seen in here. We have seen in Dallas, or North Carolina, or Chicago. So it's like because we are all over the country, we needed people to support us to do that, people on the ground. So anywhere that we have stronger Tanzanian community, of which all these communities that we are here, they do have those. So that qualification you all have. Now you're going to assess all other things, and then you're going to let you know, number one, when you're going to do that convention, and number two, we are going to involve you in selecting the exact location. Because I remember, if we are selected from the national level, to give that one example, in North Carolina we are thinking of going to Charlotte, but we are told by the locals that is like number one, it's only Nisa that lives there. Very few people are living in Charlotte, so we ended up doing it in Durham. So those are things that we did listen from the locals to kind of guide us and help us. But we thank you for showing that interest that we want to host our next DICOTA convention. And we are happy for that, and we keep on working with you to make sure that one is going to be happening. Yeah, so again, other takeaways, women in the diaspora are encouraged to be involved in women-led initiatives and developments and activities. And with the education skill level, diaspora can be used to further elevate Tanzania to another level. So we do a very strong human capital and financial capital and intellectual capital in this diaspora. So we are kind of very, very strong on that, and we just need to mobilize ourselves and make sure that we utilize whatever that we have together, and now that impact will go back, can go way further in terms of development. And that we got that quote, it doesn't matter where you reside, and what matters is what you do. So we should concentrate more on what we've been doing. And we also, from the body for student loans in Tanzania, we are reminded to pay student loans, especially for those who went to school in Tanzania. Okay, so then we had kind of summarized of recurring themes from all over the convention. So number one, it was more about sustainable development and projects, and also investment in resources back Tanzania within the family. So like everything that we can do, that's going to not only help ourselves or make it easier for ourselves, but also develop our families and friends back home and develop our country as well. So again, we are kind of reminded the in-kind contributions can be as impactful as monetary. Things like consultants. So doing this, just using your intellectual capabilities or your time, that's going to as well be impactful as using the money or monetary terms. Yeah, we are kind of reminded of the importance of scholarships and shipment supplies, then go back to the same, can save lives. And a small contribution from the diaspora can save lives in Tanzania as well. So it's kind of the same thing, but what we ship, what we contribute is going to help save lives in Tanzania. Okay, then I remember I recognized our new board of trustees. So I skip that and I'll go to our executive team. And I am the president. I've got a few months before I can retire, and I'm looking forward for that. So they can get another person with the new ideas and new ways of doing things to further develop our organization, DICOTA. And you do have Dr. Guy Birinyi. Guy is DICOTA secretary. We do have Lisa Kibona, is deputy secretary. Charles Bishota, our treasurer. Jen Tem is assistant treasurer. Dr. Levi Kisho. Thank you. He's an executive member, as well as Dr. Patrick Inegura. Okay, so together with the executive committee and board of trustees, we were able to organize these conventions using our members from this locality. And the good thing with this time, we are not only having members from Dallas, but we have people and the leaders from all the neighboring cities and Tanzanian communities. That includes Houston, Wichita, Oklahoma City, Kansas City, and Austin. Say that again?
You're wrong, my friend.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but you moved from Houston, right? All right, thank you. Yeah, so I'm going to hand over a certificate as a token of appreciation of what they did for us. And I think all of you can attest how wonderful and successful this convention is because of that. So, thank you so much. Benny Kazora. Viola Mbise. Johnny Adero. Johnny Adero. Clara Lulegura Ford. Hilda Curry. Thank you. Love Makahelo. Thank you. Evans Lucas. Subira Mabuba. Chuga Karobo. Anna Matulile. Daudi Mayocha. Afro. Okay. Yeah, Daudi Mayocha is a chairperson from the Eastern community. Maria Bondo Mosomi. Priska Mshana. Jerry Mshana. Bruce Mushi. Elaston Vonge is also from Houston. Mr. Godfrey Ndagala, the AV expert. Michael Ndejemi is also from Houston. Yep. And Alfred Nkunga. Thank you. Mr. Roderick Shire from Austin. Roderick. Mawa Swai. Benny Kazola. Lambert Tibaigana is also from Houston. Mr. Ngana Endumzrai is from DMV area. He's our national volunteer. Thank you so much. Cyprian Obey. Pastor Nicholas Chove. I believe everyone from Tanzania knows him. He's the one who picked up everyone from the airport here. So we thank him so much for that. Mr. Peter Kiwil, Mr. Dallas. Tanzania, Austin, San Antonio community, any representative? Okay. We send up there. Tanzania, Oklahoma City community. Represent from there. Frank Njema. Thank you. Tanzania Association of Wichita. Wichita. Okay. Association of Tanzania Natives in Dallas. Yeah. Thank you. Tanzania Houston Community, TCA. Tanzania Association of Kansas City, Johnny Adele. And where's Agneta Kamugisha? She provided a raffle of $100 for someone to flow in from whatever part of this country to here. So thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Done? Is good for that? All right. Okay. Then. Mr. Godfrey Ndagala. Thank you. one quick announcement. We are late. We're supposed to be at the park right now. And for those who need transportation, you can go back to the station table and sign up for that. Thank you so much, and I'll go back to Lunda.
Just one final message. We will do the raffle drawing this evening in this room. So we will sell some more raffle tickets at the park. So if you would like to still purchase, please take cash with you for the raffle ticket. And then I got an announcement that tomorrow, Pastor Makasege, there'll be a service at 10, I believe, tomorrow. Karibuni.